Wouter Dieleman, the HubSpot and ABM expert. Thanks for joining.
Very happy to be here. It's super cool to do this.
Awesome. Perhaps before we just dive straight into the questions, it'd be good, Wouter, if you give a bit of background as to kind of how I personally like the question, how did you even end up in B2B marketing? But like specifically kind of with HubSpot, because that's what this episode's going to do a deep dive on today.
Yeah, almost 10 years. No, longer than 10 years ago, I was building an app and I was responsible for the commercial side. So I was looking into marketing. Obviously, I found HubSpot inbound style through an article. And then I realized that this company has quite a cool culture. And yeah, then before I knew, it was my first startup implementing HubSpot, and that's how it all started.
Well, they live true to what they say about inbound marketing. Then, if you found them that way as well, so superb. Right, okay. Well, we will put your knowledge to the test in this episode. The first challenge that came in was segmenting and identifying high fit accounts within your CRM. So my question, I guess, here would be like, how do you build and maintain clean, like usable account lists in HubSpot without it just becoming super chaotic? And what data do you kind of like, obviously I imagine it changes from company to company, but what data do you rely on predominantly to score or tier accounts?
So account scoring, tiering in HubSpot used to be quite hard. You would have to upload list manually, apply the tiering. But now with tools like Clay, and I'm just going to show it on the screen because that always works best. Give me a second. So now with tools like Clay, you can do a lot of stuff before it even hits the CRM. Okay, you obviously start with your ICP. You have your criteria here. And then I'm building this one for myself because I am a freelance HubSpot ABM consultant. I work with B2B SaaS companies mostly, and I do ABM to acquire my clients and build long-lasting relationships. So that is the context. So with Clay, you can do a lot of the account qualification beforehand. So you have your set of tools that provide databases, and this will give you a rough list of your total addressable market. And then what you can do with a tool like Clay is start to enrich on the ICP criteria. So I input revenue, region, number of employees, and then Clay can enrich. And also based on the score that you give to the outcome of those criteria, it can build an account score, an ICP score for you. And you can connect that to tiering. So there you already have a lot of the work automated on creating your tiers. Now, you also want to do that on the contact level. So I have my buying committee, decision-making unit. They have these roles most predominantly present there. So the contact tier A is the most relevant, and they can also already start to source all the contacts that go with your target accounts. So now you already have a segmented list based on your ICP criteria. But of course, we want to do business with companies that are in market. So that's where the intent scoring comes in. So you can build an intent scoring system in Clay before it even hits HubSpot. And yeah, what we do is look at first, second, and third party intent signals, and then bundle that into an account score that you can then, with the Clay integration, it's expensive by the way, so you can also use the API, bring that into HubSpot. So give you an example on the second party intent scoring signals. For instance, if you use TriggerFi to track your organic post performance, you can connect the score to that. Same for your LinkedIn ads using Fibbler, for instance. And all of these different sources and in the scoring that you attribute to them makes up for the total intent score, and you send that into HubSpot. So here you can automate away a lot of the work that is usually took a lot of time and was still error prone.
You're not doing it the medieval way then. This is superb. I still am meaning to check out TriggerFi because it keeps coming up time and time again. And also great that you're a Clay whiz as well. The tool blew my mind. I know we're drifting from the HubSpot piece, but like that tool blew my mind when I first saw it because like I was obsessed with Apollo when it came out, and then nothing really kind of like sparked me until I saw Clay again, and I went to one of the meetups and I was like, wow, this really can do it all, which we'll uncover more. Challenge 2 is poor visibility into buying committees or personas within accounts. So, I mean, you've kind of touched upon it already, but like, what's like your approach to like mapping buying groups inside like HubSpot? Do you use like custom properties, workflows, and like you already mentioned bringing in kind of some other tools and like LinkedIn SalesNav to help kind of enrich that further? Like I said, we kind of already did cover it, but is there anything that we're we're missing there. And to give you some context, please speak to me like an absolute newbie when it comes to HubSpot and how it works, because I very rarely used it.
Yeah. Okay. So we just looked at how Clay can take away some of the contact generation, but you will still have some holes to fill. So, okay, we're going to share again. So what you have in HubSpot, my friends from OrgChartHub, a HubSpot plugin, and the functionality is to make account maps in HubSpot. Here you have an example of an account map from HubSpot. It's fictional. So when you pull your contacts into the CRM using Clay on one side, but still Clay will not find them all usually. So you would go into Sales Navigator to find the rest. And there are a few ways that you can do that. Let's look for the HubSpot account here as well. So in Sales Navigator, you can set up personas, five of them. And so if you have your buying committee, your buying group, so these are all the people that play a part in buying your product or service. They all have a different role, and you can connect a persona to that role, and that will help you isolate them, especially in bigger accounts in Sales Navigator. So I can say, okay, show me all the marketing leaders at HubSpot. Fictional, right? HubSpot not going to buy from me. But
You never know.
You never know. I actually helped a rep in a personal development program, so it's not even true what I'm saying. This is a way to find the additional employees on Sales Navigator. And you can use a technology, for instance, called Surf. I will show you what it does. Surf is a plugin, and it can help you sync between HubSpot and Sales Navigator. So here I can say enrich. So Clay enriches, but Surf can also do that. So now it's finding some contact details, and then the record is being brought into the HubSpot CRM. And from there on out, you can add it to your organogram. So if you are doing account-based stuff, you want to have an account map in HubSpot. OrgChartHub is the app to do that in the plugin. And you want to sync the remaining contacts that you were not able to pull in via Clay, also get them into the CRM from Sales Navigator. Now, and then, yeah, go ahead.
No, this is great. This is really, really good. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I cut you up. Sorry. What were you going to say?
I mean, I don't want to go on too long, but they have an activity heat map, so you can actually see, am I multi-threading, right? Because in ABM, we are supposed to talk to multiple people of the buying committee, because large order values are not decided on by one person. So it is very important to map out all of those stakeholders and do it in HubSpot while you're at it. So that's to build an organogram like that is a great idea.
Wait, so I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go down this road. Activity heat map. What does that mean? So like the reps, or like as in like those prospects of what's going on, or activity within the CRM, i.e., your sales team are giving these prospects the most attention.
The latter, indeed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is perfect for the next challenge, which is aligning marketing and sales activities around the same accounts. So zooming out one level.
Yeah.
But like, what are your best practices? How do you keep like the go-to-market teams aligned on what accounts to focus on? Especially as, you know, time evolves and campaigns evolve and things iterate. And like, are there any kind of like dashboards that you've built, or like alerts that you found work well with inside HubSpot to keep everyone on the same path? This is like a prime example. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, let's talk process, people, technology. So process, coordinated effort between marketing and sales to stay on top of the accounts. The people that are supposed to do that in an account-based team are always led by an ABM lead. So this is usually a marketing-oriented person that owns the ABM program and that is responsible for running the weekly meetings, making sure that everyone is aligned, making sure that the account lists and pipeline progression are being reviewed. So it really starts with that person. And then if this is territory based or whatever the cohort is that you're working with, the salespeople are part of that session as well. And there are all kinds of reports you can run in HubSpot to get an idea. So a report we like to run, for instance, is, are all the buying roles known for our tier 1 accounts? Simply to know, how well do you know the target accounts on your list, right? That is one question that you can very easily answer with a report like that. leads that have been handed over to sales. We monitor the follow-up time. So are they being followed up on within the first 24, max 48 hours? That kind of stuff.
The more we talk about this, the more I'm seeing as HubSpot as like the Eye of Sauron in like Lord of the Rings. It like sees everything.
If you set it up that way, yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's part of the reason why people hire you, right? It can be a mammoth to control. Right, we're doing really well. Next challenge is personalization at scale while staying efficient. So this is more of a broader. People send mail campaigns from HubSpot, sure, but like you've already showed us a few neat tools. But like, what tools and like workflows do you kind of use in your HubSpot campaigns to like sort of balance up the one-to-one personalization love with one-to-few and then maybe even one-to-many kind of execution? Like, is there any kind of like tricks there that you found work well?
What I see a lot is people trying to make shortcuts with personalization, but very often, even if you have the most elegant Clay workflow that pulls in all kinds of data, it's just not usually the full picture of that prospect story. So to counter that, the alternative is to do account research, like on your own, desk research, open up the account, spend 1 to 2 hours, really scope them out. Obviously, if you're running one to few, that takes too long. So this is what I'm building right now with call this guy my GTM engineer, because he's good at Clay and they've coined the term. So let's give them the credit. But I really see him that way. So this is account research. It's in Dutch. The next version is going to be in English. And we were just MVPing this one. So just using an example company here, Folian, very nice B2B SaaS company from the Netherlands, CEOs, Daan. I just met him the other week and I figured let's use his example. So this is an account research bot. And where you would usually spend 1 to 2 hours as an SDR, BDR research all of the information online, what we do here, this is company information, for instance. Let's go to finances and SG&A spending. So I know that if a company just raised 10 million and 50% or whatever is going into SG&A, I can probably create a lot of value with my efficiency, right? So I use that in my outreach. I try to find all of this stuff within the hour, like recruitment of employees we're looking at, team growth, recent acquisitions, open positions, vertical markets, all this kind of stuff. So we built a deep research bot using OpenAI's deep research and N8N and some other wizardry to come up with this. The next step is we're going to create a summary. So it will say, you want to reach out to this person or this company? This is your top 5 highlights from the account research. So this will fall on your desk in a few minutes instead of 2 hours spent. So this is how you can personalize without taking a hell of a lot of time. That is my best bet right now. The one that I'm making myself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree with you completely. I think when it comes to one-to-one accounts, just use like AI can speed up things, but you're always going to need that human level of like, it's just worth it. You know, they're just worth the accounts. When it comes to one to few, what you're doing makes total sense. This is just personal preference. I've completely avoided, like, if there are 3 tiers of personalization, right? You've got industry, account, and then prospect level. I like avoid prospect level at this point. I almost feel like the goal in 2025 is to not sound like AI, and anything that's almost prospect level makes you sound like AI. Like, Sam, I saw you did X, Y, Z. Whereas I'm trying to like keep all like our messaging and our copy to account specific pains, which I'm sure is included with you. The thing that God, I'm mumbling. You're the star of the show here, but like one thing I will say, speaking with Panos, who ran me through his Clay workflows, he was what I thought was really smart. He was using Clay to tier the prospects in like leadership positions kind of thing, like the hierarchy, sorry. And he was setting up the workflow and the messaging. So it's like sometimes he works from the bottom up and say, hey, I spoke to so-and-so, get him buying at the bottom and then go up the ranks. And then in some cases he goes from the top down. But yeah, it's kind of, I'm waffling. We're probably going to edit that out. You're the valuable guest here.
That sounds interesting. Can you send that over? I want to see that actually.
He will, yeah. We're going to do a deep dive on the series as well, because logically it makes sense, right? If you want to get buy-in, I can't remember what they call it, like footprint, a spread at the bottom, that's going to create weight for you to kind of get buy-in at the top. And he's actually like, he doesn't do the whole Clay outbound stuff anymore. He's found so much value in that he specifically just does list building now, but he gives the lists with this kind of tiered approach so that those that do click the execution on it have that at their arsenal.
Nice.
Next challenge, attribution and reporting. Probably one of the biggest things HubSpot is needed for. Walk me through it. How do you measure kind of success of ABM campaigns in HubSpot? Like, what do the reports look like? What KPIs are important across, like, if we're going to, obviously varies company to company, but like, what are the big ones that you see across your client base? And what I like to ask as well is, are there any like hidden metrics? And this came in from Chelsea. She asked, are there any like metrics that get overlooked that should be being tracked that in like HubSpot that people aren't tracking at the moment?
I mean, I want to say to all people that chase the attribution holy grail, that stop looking for it. It doesn't exist. It is virtually
people.
Impossible. Even in the enterprise hub, man, dark social, there is so much happening under the surface that you cannot see, because they heard about you on an event. They type in your name on Google. They're too lazy to scroll down and they click on the ad, and people attribute it to paid search. So that is the big fault in attribution. It is not 100%. Of course, you can do things. So number one, self-reported attribution on the deal level. So deal source, really ask, how did you find us? Like, really find us. Not online on a Google search. I met X AE at the event. Okay, so this is actually an event attributed first touch, right? So the self-reported attribution, big one. Now, in HubSpot, if you want to make it easy, you can use the HubSpot campaign report on the Marketing Hub. That one works well. You'll at least get some of the overviews. I was at the ABM European ABM conference, as you asked in the beginning, and Christian Weiss from Autodesk was speaking there. I recommend anyone to follow him, and I actually want to pull up something.
He's everywhere on LinkedIn, isn't he?
Christian.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't even know him before the event. But he shared, which I will put on the screen. It will be a bit hard to read for people, presume. But go to my profile and look at the screenshot that this is the dashboard that he made for salespeople. That actually, according to the salespeople there, actually means something. So show activities around keywords that they've been searching for, competitor product searches, suggested buying committee members. This is the kind of stuff that sales is interested in. Activities over the last few days, like concrete things. Also read from, this is also a guy people want to check out. My friend Andrej Zinkovic from Full Funnel, the ABM guys. Probably know him. If you don't, this is the guy you want to follow. He also recently said something about future pipeline projection. So we're seeing some leading indicators on accounts that give the impression that they might become future pipelines. So sales spend more time on that. And if you want to do proper attribution, then you're going to be left with the HubSpot Sales Enterprise Hub. And if you're not on the pro, you can use the marketing campaign report. But self-reported is best, and total attribution doesn't exist. That is my summary.
I mean, I would agree. Also, great plug for other people there. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the full funnel guys, they're the real deal. I took some of the courses with them when I was starting out with ABM. That's where you learn true ABM, like in its purest form. That's the guys you want to follow.
Well, on that, and this is coming to the end now. The previous guest question from Jim Jilke at Scrappy ABM. He asked, where do you go to find real campaign examples or inspiration that you can actually use in your own marketing? So we can maybe cover that from like you said, where do you go to?
I have to say that live events usually bring the best meat on the table, because there it's a bit more like a closed setting and people are willing to share a bit more. And you're not people are very hesitant to really show their best stuff on LinkedIn. But at the European ABM conference, I was, it doesn't matter for US people the same, I was blown away by the level of detail that people were sharing in their presentations. Like the amount of inspiration I got during that day is more than a year looking around on LinkedIn. So I took some photos and I posted some takeaways on LinkedIn, my last post, to share that with other people. Let's see if the guys mind that it didn't.
Well, credit to you as well, because like when we discovered you and we I went through some of your profile, you actually give, and I really respect this, like tactical, meaningful advice that is helpful. So I've been to a few ABM conferences, and there's like a CMO on stage and it's all super high level
Yeah.
and it's like just like waffle, and I'm like, or it's like an agency did this, and I'm like, well, what did you do then? Like, I don't care about like the bigger picture. I need like the details and the tactics, and I think you do that really well. Credit to you there.
Thank you.
Okay, so events. Last two quick questions. If you can, this is just more for fun. If you could invent if you could invent a tool or technology to help you run your ABM, what would it be and why? Or like it could be to do with an extension that a current tool is missing, maybe to do with HubSpot.
How to measure dark social. And if anyone cracks that problem, then you are the king on the hill.
All right. I mean, yeah, there must be a way. I mean, if we can put a man on the moon, there must be a way.
I would say so.
The last question I'll ask you is, do you have a question for our next guest?
Question for a next guest.
It doesn't have to be HubSpot related, but it can, like, ideally ABM related.
Ideally ABM related. I'm still very much, what is your best practice dashboard? The best dashboard that you've seen, not necessarily attribution, but what is the universal ABM dashboard that covers all things: attribution, account tracking, account activity, account mapping, keywords? Like, everyone is struggling with this. I now seen 3 great sources the other day. I'm compiling them into my own new version, which is probably going to look like shit in 6 months as well. Is the ultimate ABM dashboard?
Well, so that is a great question. That is a great question because it's actually very tactical as well, right? And practical. I do think, like you said, you're probably going to get a million different answers. But I think, is it Pep, the guy that runs Winter? I think he's Dutch. I went on one of his webinars and he said after about 15 customer interviews or something, that's when you start seeing patterns. So maybe if we get 15 dashboards, we'll finally be able to figure out what the perfect ideal dashboard is. But I'll ask that to my next guest.
Absolutely.
Also, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, it was really cool to do this. Good luck with the rest of the show, and nice format you have.
Cheers.